Having a buffer at the beginning of this is pretty cool because they don't really have to introduce anything. It's already there with the cool jingle and the flashing words.
Bumper.
Yeah. Bumper or buffer?
Bumper. I
Bumper or
always
buffer?
refer to as a bumper.
A bumper.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said buffer is
Bumper.
usually when it's loading, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm way off.
Yeah. I could be off.
I only had 1 cup of coffee this morning.
I think that's all I've had is 1 or 2, which I'm like 3 quarts low.
Yeah, it's rookie. We're in the rookie. We need to.
Busy.
Nadeva just had a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
and it was it's like, what, 20 minutes ago, Nadeva?
Yeah. I did have a biscuit and gravy and some eggs, though.
Biscuits
I
and
never
gravy.
made it over here to ask you guys if you wanted any.
It's
So
okay.
if you want some right after this is over, I'll be glad to.
Yeah. I love the biscuits and gravy you guys make.
First batch just came out.
It's like warming and comforting.
It
and
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to have you back on here again. I know that you were here a couple episodes ago, but there's been a lot of stuff that's happened with the business you're involved with other than this one, because if people know who Clint Peek is, he knows that, or they know that he is kind of doing a lot of different things.
going on.
Just a couple. And, Copper Creek Cookies is the bakery that you help own and operate, and there's a lot of things going on that you guys are doing this year. You jumped right into it. Started this year. You have some new products that are able to be shipped across the United States, and you've also opened your business to a lot more customers and reach. So tell us about it.
Yeah. 17 years this year. It'll be 14 in the current location. And with February being the month of love, of course, Valentine's sitting right in the middle of it. We've got some pretty cool Valentine's specials running. Today is the 27th. A quick shout out to my daughter, our daughter Jordan. Today is her 27th birthday.
Happy
on the
birthday,
27th.
yeah.
So
There
a
you
little
go.
shout out to her.
Right on.
And there's a special running today. So if you hear this today, there is a early bird special, but effective tomorrow or officially tomorrow, you can pre-order your Valentine's boxes. We can ship anywhere in the lower 48 states.
Yeah.
Shipping is free. We got some really cool Valentine's boxes that we put together. We've also added it's a boy, it's a girl boxes.
Okay.
With some really cool boxes, some really
For
cool
gender
stuff.
reveal stuff? Or
Yeah, well, we can do that. These are more like already pink and blue when but we can do that. We got some attaboy, attagirl.
Yeah.
Congratulation boxes. You can check those all out on coppercreekcookies.net or on our apps.
Yeah.
Now, another cool thing that we just started last week is we now are a part of DoorDash.
Yeah.
Which means
there
we're
you go.
starting to sponsor major sporting events. It was really cool to see our logo up the other night through professional sports. You can get our cinnamon rolls, cookies.
Yeah.
Then we have a full menu that's coming on right now. Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
The burritos, the bowls, stuff like that will be available for DoorDash.
Oh, so you're going to expand the menu. Okay. Yeah, I
we're doing it kind of one at a time because,
Yeah.
I go in like guns a-blazing, but everybody else needs it a little bit slower than that.
Yeah. I used DoorDash last night. I got home and the wife's work they're like on a month straight of overtime.
Yeah.
It has not, usually it's only like a week or two, and it has just kept going and going and going, and we had all these big plans to make stuff in the Instapot, and you get home and the baby's like, I need some
and there's
fun.
a baby in the mix, so mom and dad are both working 12 and 14-hour days, and a baby's in the mix, and
yeah, and it was just one of those days where we're like, you know what, let's just DoorDash something. Let's just get food here. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do dishes. I don't want to go anywhere else. Boom, did it.
We're of different generations, obviously.
Yeah.
So I've never actually personally DoorDashed.
Yeah.
But my card is attached to a couple of DoorDash accounts. I know I paid for a few deliveries, but I personally haven't done it. But now that I see what they're doing, and we're going to get kind of into that a little later in this conversation, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
The transitions and the disruption, I'll go ahead and use that word now, that DoorDash, Uber Eats, and a lot of these people, a lot of these organizations have just blown up systems
Yeah.
For the better, I believe,
Yeah.
in many cases. Because I'll say one thing about our business and how DoorDash, in the limited time that we've used it. Yes, it's kind of expensive. There's no doubt about it. They've got all kinds of perks, and I'm not here to promote DoorDash, and yet I am.
Yeah.
I'm an unpaid representative at this point, but a spokesperson. But they open a whole new avenue, a whole new set of clientele for us personally. And I know in talking to other small food vendors and stuff, but I guess you can get everything on DoorDash now based on really kind of taking a really quick look at it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And then national and international stuff. But it really changed our game, as far as being able to get out into the community and better serve our constituents.
Yeah, especially with how things moved in with the pandemic and people don't want to leave their houses. So now you can definitely just get the stuff to them, and the orders are coming in. I've heard you guys talk about them, and I think DoorDash has really started doing stuff to stand out from the other ones that we've talked about. Uber Eats and
our experience with them is they're trying to make they're making money. They're a big huge.
Well, they bring you in as a partner,
but they have really the where we're at right now. Again, brand new in this program, but they have made it very, very easy and very affordable to be involved in it. And we're really excited to be able to open up. We've always delivered, but it was a little more difficult when you're doing a lot of it in-house. And when we got to really doing the numbers, it really wasn't any more expensive, because I'm not going to ask you to go deliver something for me unless I pay you a fair price. Well, they've already got the system in place that it can be any number. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is.
From the business side to, see an order come in and then see a dasher has been assigned, and then a few minutes later, and our experience is everybody's been on time. They're clean. They're pleasant. Yeah. I mean, we do throw a free cinnamon roll at them when they come in, because we want to make sure they love coming and to be here. So we're
jump on the Copper Creek Cookies DoorDash orders. Oh man,
we're pre-tipping your driver before he or she gets there. Trust me.
That's a good way to do things. Gotta get them excited.
That's easy for me to say, but
no doubt.
Back to Copper Creek Cookies again. 17 years. We've had a lot. There's just been it's pivot basically every day. We've dealt with. I mean, it's just part of the process. I've said often, where I'm going. The key and piece of equipment for an entrepreneur is a fire hat, because you're going to be spending a majority of your time putting out fires. Thank God I've got an incredible fire captain in my daughter, who is a fireman's daughter, by the way. So, but she is great at handling that. But you're constantly dealing with stuff. And then in 17 years, we've seen market crashes. We've seen pandemics. In our particular case, we had road closures. There's a lot of things that you have to navigate in running a small business. Yeah, absolutely. And part of the disruption that we're going to talk about has helped us through some of those things, because it made us better. Even though in the beginning of a lot of these things we were hurting because of it. It was a negative, but we turned that into a positive. And I would say we turned the pandemic. It accelerated our business and how we do business by a decade or more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've been here from day one on that, so what I'm saying. It's not just flip. It's for real.
Yeah. No, when we talk about industry disruption, we're both having a hard time saying that word. Industry disruption. I'm kind of going to define it for, especially when you bring in the element of a small business into it. It's defined as a process by which a smaller company with fewer resources is able to successfully challenge established incumbent businesses. And people are going to go, this is what I've learned from how people will view things when it comes to disruptions and other stuff. There's a word that gets used pretty loosely, and I don't like it, and it's luck.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are lucky. It's luck. It's like, well, no, that's not the case, right? Some of the systems you guys have in place to be able to operate with all this the disruption and the pivoting and stuff that's happening is because you did it years ago. You might not necessarily known at the time that this is where it would end up, but it was something that you thought of and put in place for a reason then, not knowing that it might be happening later on.
That David, we hear this all the time. Why are you doing it that way? Well, that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
And our first step in training someone there, here, wherever, any business that I'm involved in. The first step that we take is we train that person to do that job. And I usually say it's something like this: do it my way first, because I've got X number of years. I've done these, whatever. Do it my way first. But if you can figure out a better way to do this, and matter of fact, I want you to concentrate as you become proficient at it and doing it. Let's figure out a better way, because there is a better way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use this as a current one. Everybody knows this, and I'm going to give you just a pause to think about this. But how did Amazon start? I mean, if you really think about it, now roughly 25 years old, you do remember how they started, but that's not where, they're not even the same corporation as they are today.
Not
you go back
close.
100 years ago, a company that I'm very familiar with, 3M Corporation.
What does 3M stand for?
It stands for Minnesota Manufacturing and Mining Company.
Okay.
They were a mining company. They came into existence in 1903, and for 20 years they basically were a mining company. They made sandpaper. They really just spent 2 decades kind of just finding their way. And over that last 100 years, once they found that way, they're not. How do you categorize? They're in their own section in the stock market. They're a conglomerate. There's 14 of them in there. There's 14 conglomerates on the United States stock market, and 3M is one of them.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to really label 3M. There's just, how do you label them?
I don't know. So you go into Lowe's or Home Depot or a hardware store.
Exactly.
And you walk down every aisle, you're going to see something 3M.
My stepfather, George Schulte, who passed away just short of 5 years ago, was a vice president at 3M, and he was there for, I can't remember, 30 or 40. He goes way back to some of the original players. They were at the end of their tenure, end of their careers, and he was kind of at the beginning of his careers. I'm wanting to say back into the 40s. I could be off just a little bit.
Yeah.
And he did some really cool stuff, and if you know me, you know some of those things that he helped create and was involved with. I'm not going to get into them, but if you're really interested, shoot me a text. I'll be glad to discuss it in detail with you.
Yeah.
But their whole thing at 3M was innovation. The whole thing was they paid, and still do to the best of my knowledge, they paid every employee their wages and expected them to spend 10 to 15% of their on-clock hours figuring out ways to do new things or take old things and make them new. And
that's really interesting.
And here's the result of that. You look at them, and you can look at them over a course of history. All of their sales basically are items that are 5 years old or younger. New and improved. There is no, you're not buying anything. Again, when my stepfather was alive, you'd be driving down the road or at a Lowe's or somewhere, and he'd say, we make that. They make all your highway signs, the reflective tapes, the stuff on the road itself, not to mention, that's just a small portion of what we encounter every day from 3M. And it was primarily because they almost insisted that people spend part of their daily hours working on a new project.
I'm interested to see how many companies are doing that today.
I don't think there's very many at all. Most of them are like, hey, can you get that done? And, your bathroom break's got to wait till, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And can you get on skates while you're doing it? I'm not knocking any hard work. I love hard work. But, no, I don't. How many you think there are?
I don't know one here. I don't know in like the career field that I've been in. I really haven't seen any of the forward thinking would happen in meetings and stuff that your usual line staff would never get to go near.
Let me ask you a question. You and I've been doing business together for 6 years. Nareda, you've been here 2.5 years. I think we do a pretty good job here.
Every Tuesday.
Doing that.
Hours. I've noticed every Tuesday we get together in the morning. We were somewhere, either in here or we're at the bakery or in the venue, and we sit and we talk about what's next.
Yeah. And sometimes we just talk and have fun.
Yeah.
And other times we dig in and how do we work stuff? And then would you say that in smaller versions of that happens basically every time we're here? It's just like a rolling, meeting.
Yeah.
We just kind of like brainstorm throughout every process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially when we're doing it well.
Yeah.
That's when we really brainstorm, because then it's like, hey, we've kind of figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
How do we take this to the next level?
Yeah. So taking luck and accidental stuff into account.
I don't believe in luck.
Okay.
I mean, you can be lucky.
Yeah.
I'm lucky every day.
Yeah.
But I believe you create your own luck.
Okay. Has there been any product or something that you guys have made that was really successful or just tasted really well that you did on accident?
Most of it, probably, if the truth is known. You just kept stirring it and trying to remember, hey, I've got good memory, but I don't write everything down. Hey, how did we do that the last time? Because that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think history is full of that.
Yeah.
The one that when you ask that, I can't give you a specific, although I think it's everything we've done was kind of almost accidental.
So awesome, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I look back at how a lot of the stuff that we first did was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first batch of cinnamon rolls I made back in, and we'd never made them as cinnamon rolls. We'd only made them as bread. You know,
Okay,
my
yeah.
wife Tammy says, "Hey, I think they'd make a good cinnamon roll." And on a Black Friday, I don't remember when it was exactly, but 10, 12, 14 years ago. I don't remember exactly when it was, but 10 or 12, 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was over there on a Black Friday, and the first couple of batches were disasters. And I was following a recipe that I had used, but I'd never made cinnamon rolls. And I remember being pretty frustrated while the rest of the world was out playing, and I was in there, crapping the bed, to be honest about it. And but I knew that the potential was there.
Yeah.
And my mom encouraged me, my wife encouraged me, and before the end of the week, I ran a couple of batches out, and people showed up the next day with money wanting to buy what I'd given them the day before. So
Got them hooked. You gave them a taste.
I got them hooked. Yeah. But the one food product that for certain I know that would fill it, and it's not me, but it's one that everybody's heard of, and that's a Hershey's. The Hershey's chocolate is smooth like it is because somebody had inadvertently
melted it, right?
Well, left a mixer running all weekend.
Oh,
the machine was running all weekend, and it just liquefied the chocolate. But in the end, that's the chocolate we've been eating as a society for I don't know, well over 100 years. That mess up resulted in the product that we eat today.
I love the Food That Built America series.
Yeah, it is fun.
And the Hershey's one in particular. I just had no idea. I had no idea the government contracts that they got that really boosted them to grow the way they did, to keep the nutrition of the soldiers in the war.
And Frito-Lay was in that. Frito and Lay, separate companies until they got together.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the cheese puffs, the reason why we have cheese puffs is in World War II, they had a ton, the United States government, United States Army, if you will, had a bunch of this cheese powder left over. And I can't think of the guy's name right now that was running Frito-Lays. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They bought the recipe and basically the scissors to cut the Frito chips out for $100. By the way, they pawned Mom's wedding ring. It worked out okay. I think they got pretty good return on their investment, but because they have whole aisles and shopping marts full of their products. But that's how he bought a bunch of cheese puffs or cheese fluff. What powdered cheese, I guess, for the lack of a better word. He bought a bunch from the government they couldn't use, and that's how we got Cheetos.
Yeah, those are popular.
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
I haven't eaten any of those as a kid.
No,
that sure was licking your fingers with the orange on it.
Yeah. When you get older, I'm not saying that you're old, Clint, or that I'm old.
I am.
When you get older, the things you eat start to stick in spots.
Yeah.
We were just talking about she's like, hey, how do you want the
lens
camera?
Right in here,
I'm like,
right?
I'm good from here to like right here, and then after that.
Yeah, but no, I'm not even there. It's more like
history
like
tells
here.
the story. You know what I mean?
You know what though? As far as getting old, real quickly, just to touch on that. I mean, a lot of people don't have that opportunity to grow old. So personally, as I grow older, I'm thankful that I'm getting the opportunity to be at the point where I can consider myself a senior.
Yeah.
I don't think of myself that way. My dad, rest his soul, even as a 30 and 40 and 50-year-old person, if he'd go somewhere and they, church or somewhere, and they say, hey, well, all the young people stand up. My dad was, jumped right up. He was young at heart, young in his mind. So we could go off there because it is a mindset. Most of what we're talking about is a mindset. But I want to go back to the disruption and being disruptive, because it hasn't, if you say disruptive, you're thinking about somebody in school or somebody that's a troublemaker or something. But business disruption is, at the end of the day, we always usually win as a society, as a group, because we all love convenience.
Mm-hmm.
We all love convenience. We love routine. We do.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to fight, again, as I get older, not to fall into ruts, not to fall into routines, because then you do get complacent. So I don't want to do that. But convenience is a good thing, because it allows you to do more things with your time.
Yeah.
I don't know how we ran out of time as a society when we've got something or someone doing basically everything for us. But I just talked to a lot of people, and I just don't have time for this. And I don't have time for that. So
that's interesting, because if you look at Netflix streaming hours and
it's crazy. It's crazy. YouTube, YouTube, what is it like?
I don't have time. I'm like,
600 lifetimes are going up as we're speaking now. I mean,
yeah, you're blowing smoke right now. I think let me see how many hours of YouTube or Netflix you got going on there.
I just posted something recently, and I stand by this, and it's something that I do pretty regular. I can't say I do it every day, all day, but I do keep focused. I'd like to work in 20-minute bursts, 25-minute bursts, as hard as I can, with a plan in place, and then I want to come back from it just a minute. If it's 5 minutes to grab a cold drink, or in my case, and usually I can walk to another part of the what we're doing, another part of the job, and pick up somewhere else, because it keeps you fresh. But I just believe 30-minute increments, hardcore as you can. Yeah. And then after 3 or 4 hours, give yourself a break. Because we all know for a fact that we have better times of the day.
Yeah.
You're a day person, you're a night person, you're a morning person. We all know that. So I know Jeff Bezos with Amazon doesn't make, according to his writings and stuff, he doesn't make any major decisions after noon. Yeah. Because he just knows that his better thought process is taking place in the morning.
Yeah.
And typically, I don't take phone calls until after 10 o'clock. I want to make sure that I get started the day started right with the people I need.
Yeah, you want to get the best of them too.
And I'm not saying I won't talk to someone before 10 o'clock, but I try to, because you have to juggle and compartmentalize your life on a regular, if you're busy, and I don't want to be cheating myself at home or my family or the people I'm with, thinking that I need to be at work, or when I'm at work thinking about I need to be with my family, because I'm not giving full value to either one of them. And I want to be in the moment as best I can. That doesn't mean I'm pulling that off all the time by any means, but if you can just stay kind of focused, that's why it's easier on 30-minute burst. You heard it, my alarm goes off a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm missing something or needing to go somewhere per se. It's just stop for a second, regroup, come back.
Yeah.
You'll be a little fresher.
Oh,
I challenge everybody to try it for a week.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'll tell you one other thing that goes almost counter to that, but I think this is something that most people need to do, and I think this is the biggest culprit most of the times in not making good choices, is we just can't spend any time alone with our own thoughts. And if you can't steal away for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, do it in the car.
Yeah.
If you can't do it at home, or turn the radio off on your trip, on your commute to work for 10 minutes, and just get inside your own head.
Yeah.
And I've challenged people over the years, and they're like, well, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, try it. They did a study several years ago, I remember reading it. I don't remember the numbers, but they had 100 people, men and women equally, and they put them in a room, and they let them see that they could shock themselves like a little 9-volt battery shock if you touch this button. And they wanted them just set in a quiet room by themselves, and the only thing they had to amuse themselves was this button. And I forget the number, but it was 2/3, 90% of all guys, and 2/3 of all of them were, and they let them do it ahead of time so they'd know what the sensation was. And, and no one can so I would say just be still.
Yeah.
As much as I'm in people's face and talking, I can find that still, quiet time to just kind of reflect. And when I say be still, that means no TV, no radio. Put your phone down.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes.
It's vital.
It really is.
Yeah, I use that. So my time for that is I incorporate that into working out.
Perfect.
I use
Perfect.
the gym. I try to go 3 to 4 times a week.
Perfect.
For at least an hour and a half if I can. Most times it ends up an hour, but those days on the weekends I'll really just go out there. But I'm in my own head talking about my ideas, but I'm also fighting myself the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because no matter what, when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to succeed, and let's say you're trying to push up a certain amount of weight, or you're going against something that's really hard, the first thing, if you notice and listen, that starts to turn on you is you.
Absolutely. Happiness is an inside job.
Yeah, your mind will start going, "Hey, Dave, just you don't have to do this. You can stop right now. No one
You can go home.
Okay. You can go home.
Your wife's at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
She's probably got dinner ready,
Mhm.
or needs to have dinner ready made
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah,
The
and
baby can see you.
that voice is that happens in every aspect of your day. If you're at work and you have a big project that needs to get done, you can finish it now while you're on a roll, or you can go, well, maybe I'll just put this off to tomorrow, and then I'll be a little more behind. It's not a big deal, right? It's just a constant battle.
It is.
But you doing what you talk about really gets you
know
to get
that
in line.
25 minutes, now it's 18 minutes. I get a break from this.
Yeah.
And you know what I found most of the time?
Mm-hmm.
You blow past that without really. And then you almost have to make yourself take a break, which is
Yeah.
good, because that's kind of the objective there, is
Yeah.
to keep you fresh. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, again, back to disruption. This is something that we have been doing as a society from the jump.
Yeah.
Think about that. From the caves to when we trained the first horses to
Mm-hmm.
be our domestic partners in this thing,
Yeah.
to when they became more obsolete from a tool. When the cars came about, you think about printing presses for hundreds of years controlled how information was disseminated. Then this thing called radio in the 1920s changed all that like overnight.
Yeah.
And then in the late 40s, TV changed that like overnight. And now here we are in the 21st century, and digital media has changed it overnight.
Yeah.
It's just taken 10, 12 years for it to really happen like it has happened. But everybody, you look at all the major media outlets, look at them. All of them say their tagline, digital.
Yeah.
They've all gone digital because they know that's where all the eyeballs are.
Yeah.
You look at some of the most, with the exception of like sports programming, and I'm talking Super Bowl and stuff, there'll be, I don't know how many people watching that on TV, but there'll probably be almost an equal amount this time watching it in a digital format because it's easier.
Yep.
Especially if you're not tapped into a cable system here in the United States. How are you getting it?
Yeah.
It has
absolutely.
to be some kind of a digital transmission.
For sure. Yeah. I just completed the Nielsen survey at home.
Did you?
Yeah. They sent me $2. Right? They sent me $2, and they're like, "Hey, it said in there, if you fill this out, we'll send you a check for $20."
Yeah.
Well, guess how long it took me to make $20?
Hey, can you give my
3
address?
minutes. 3 minutes.
Yeah, give
And,
my address. I'll do that.
Oh, I let them have it, man. I let them have it.
You won't be getting your $22 anymore.
I'll probably get it. You know what? I don't think that I'm much different than a lot of other people with TV programming and stuff the way it is today.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff convoluted it and ruined it and took away from the artistic thought process and stuff that happens with the art. It's art itself. It's theater. It's drama.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all kinds of elements got pulled into it that don't belong there and don't need to be there, and they take away from it. And I let them have it. I'm like, we need to get back to a creative thing. And I think that's why like Netflix and stuff like that, and Amazon and Apple and all them, HBO, they're fully immersed in the artistic.
Well, and you're not even talking about the third tier there, Hulu and and Tubi, and I mean I don't know how many are on my TV.
Yeah.
I'm opening it up, and I can look you in the eye and honestly tell you, with rare exceptions, and that's usually sporting. But I don't have like a show that I watch. As a kid growing up, you kind of like had your shows that you watch. You watch MASH, and you watched Andy Griffin, or whatever you watched, and you kind of the Seinfeld show, the Simpsons, and you kind of knew what time they came on, especially on their first run, and must see TV Thursday night. Got to be at home to watch Seinfeld.
That's gone.
You know?
That's dead and gone.
I haven't done that I don't think in this century.
Yeah.
One, I didn't have cable until I moved to Tucson. My kids were young, and
Yeah.
I didn't need cable.
Hey, disclaimer. I mean, it's my opinion, right?
Oh,
On
yeah,
that,
these are all my
but
opinions. I don't.
Yeah, and if you're against what I'm saying, that's fine.
Yeah,
you can email
yeah.
me. That's cool.
Well,
But
if you are, then that means you probably have stock in one of these large corporations.
You should be
media
buying,
corporations, and you
yeah.
should be buying. I would suggest you strongly that you get maybe into more of a digital format.
yeah, absolutely.
Because some of these shows, because I read a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm reading,
Ditto.
and they're talking about, well, that show drew 2 million people, or that show drew 4 million people, or that show drew 500,000 people, and then they start breaking down the demographics, and I'm thinking, there's 330 million people in the United States now, and you're excited. Now, I don't have a 3 million viewer audience.
Yeah,
I'd be jacked.
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be totally jacked. But if you're a major broadcast company that's been doing this, and some of these broadcast companies, they go back to the beginning of radio.
Yeah.
You've been doing this 100 years, and your primetime show is drawing, 2 million people. I don't think you got much of an audience.
Yeah. No. That's
Am I
true.
wrong?
No.
I mean,
No.
again, I don't have 3 million. I don't have anywhere near that
Yeah.
yet. But the reality of it is I'm not on, what they call a broadcast role there in New York, which is pretty cool. If you've
Yeah.
ever been there, that is cool to
Yeah.
see what they do. But
Yeah. It's.
I'm not sure what they're doing up there, any of them, but they got big buildings.
Yeah. I want to say thanks again for you coming
I
here
always
and
love
us
it.
talking
I
about
love
this
it.
stuff and just giving insight and take into consideration what listeners and viewers of what Clint talked about with those bursts of productivity against the standard and traditional, where you're in the run for 8 hours. Okay, just go. Try different ways to do it. Definitely get in line with yourself. Have those conversations with yourself. Give yourself time with yourself.
And talk nice to yourself. I used to kind of be mean to myself, honestly.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I can be stern. I can,
Yeah.
I can do a little chewing here, but I still have to kind of.
Yeah.
You got to show yourself respect. Honestly,
Yeah, for sure. I remember one of the saddest things I saw was Chester Bennington. May you rest in peace, and thank you so much for all the stuff you did for the world, and prayers to the family and everything. But I saw a couple of interviews of him where he was talking about how he was talking to himself in his head, and he's like, "It is not nice up there.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're having those kind of hard times, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody.
And there is hope.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, hope is a real thing, and I've used that word numerous times in my life. That maybe sometimes you didn't feel like there was any hope.
Yeah. Help other people
but
excel,
there
man.
is.
That's my hope right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hey, again, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Okay, can
And-
I do one more thing real quick? I can't.
Yeah, I got one more thing for you too,
Yeah,
just
okay.
to mess around. But what is it?
But I wanna.
Thought we were leaving.
Yeah.
Psych.
We're not done yet. Hey guys, it's part one. Hey, so local Marana.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we talk about that every time that we go live and we're having these things. Local Marana. Again, as we've said, you don't have to live in Marana to be a part of it, but it is based on Marana and surrounding areas.
Yep.
And Oro Valley and Tucson and Pima County as a whole is a part of that. But this is specific more towards business and information related to
it's a great
local
group.
Marana. And we had a huge boost on membership yesterday, which is really cool
Thank
to
you,
see.
everybody who
And
jumped.
we really appreciate it. And if you're
Pretty much
on there,
doubled.
jump on there. Tell us who you are, what you do, what you
Yeah.
offer, and how the group can serve you,
Yeah.
can help you. So what benefit you can get from that.
It's beautiful.
So local Marana,
it.
check it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I got
What you
this.
got?
Okay, so it's an old thing. Maybe you'll know it. It's an old kind of riddle question, trick question thing.
trick
And the
question.
day that you can participate too, I know you're super busy.
Hey, did
directing.
we call her out? Did we get narrated in this?
I talked about how she's adjusting the camera, but I haven't
Yeah.
thanked her for everything she's doing. So
She's
thank you
awesome.
so much for what you're doing today. That's awesome.
We love
appreciate
you.
it.
She's awesome. She just
Yeah. If you're looking to get some music recorded and an album, you need to go to her. She can come.
She's awesome.
She can come over here and record you into the studio, and you can just.
Hey, I got nothing, okay? And
Yeah.
she's actually done some stuff for me.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. On
Consider
top
I
of
got
her
nothing.
doing this as a director, she is also the studio director here. So.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you something else that you may not
book.
really know.
Yeah.
She makes a mean Copper Creek cookie. That dough, I saw those cookies today, and we've been making those 17 years. I'm telling you, that dough today was
Smooth.
Smooth. That's a perfect word. That was velvet.
Yeah.
That was really
I saw
good.
those yesterday when
That
she was in there helping out.
I was
with
looking
cutting.
at her. I'm like, whoa. But it was
Yeah.
back to that, hey, do it my way first,
yeah.
and then figure out a better, more productive way to do it. And that's what she's
And
done.
if you're wondering, we all
yeah.
go to Copper Creek Cookies and do taste tests all the time. But
He
we
works
don't-
over there,
but we
too.
eat them, and then we all help out and work. And if there's like a huge thing that happens, we migrate our resources into different areas and just do what we need to do. So which is really cool. But I got to get to.
Okay, here we go.
I got to get to. All right,
Bring it to me.
here we go. You have 30 cents total with 2 coins. One of them is not a quarter. What do you have?
30 cents. One of them's not a quarter.
I look at the Nana's over there.
30 cents. That's a... 2 coins.
2 coins. Just 2 coins. That's it. No more.
Well, there's a penny, but there's no 29-cent piece. A 2-cent piece, there's no
You know, when
20.
I tell you the answer, you're going to be like, dang it. Because that's how I felt.
30 cents.
I did figure it out. It took me probably a minute or so just sitting there thinking. And I'm like,
So
wait.
30 cents, 2 coins,
And the purpose
and
of this
one's
is to,
not a quarter.
the purpose of this is to listen.
That's why I'm repeating it again and again and again.
Yeah.
30 cents, 2 coins. Well, one is a quarter and the other's a nickel.
30 cents. One's a quarter, one's a nickel. I just said one of them
Yeah, you did.
was not a quarter. Not both of them. I said
It's
just
not
one
what
of
the
them.
definition of is.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I love those.
yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun.
That was
You
a
got,
good
you
one.
got one? Another one?
If I did, I've forgotten it. So
My wife guessed it fast.
yeah. Well, your wife's a genius, especially when it
I
comes to
get-
numbers.
It's
So
frustrating.
now is she coming on pretty
She is.
soon?
She is. She's going to
Yeah.
be coming here, yeah.
Don't miss this one, guys. Do not miss the episode that David has his bride in
Yeah.
here, because I don't know what she's going to talk
Family
about.
and budgeting.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
she's a guru of both of those.
Yeah. So that
She
she's
made
gonna be
Pretty
here soon.
Baby, and she knows she's a budgeting guru. Fair enough?
Well, we appreciate all of you watching and listening.
Yeah.
There is a link if you want to help out and donate to our podcast program.
Help us
and
get
stuff
to
like
3
that.
million.
Yeah, let's get to
So
3
we can
million.
be in there really rolling it up with some of these guys.
All right. We love you. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.